Right. Yo, Gagey, how you doing? Thanks for hanging out. I'm getting set up, and I'll be there with you directly. Happy Saturday. How's it going for you so far? Oh, I'm good. Thank you so much for asking. I am super. Um, Considering we got a lot going on over here currently. That some of our relatives became ancestors last week, and another just a few days before that. So we were getting along fine. So this morning, I really don't know exactly what this box. And I think I want to try to build it with none of my power tools equipment. So, we'll see how that goes. Keep a couple of glues nearby. And try to do it without brads and nails and stuff either. No hardware, just joinery and glues. But we also want to use, some unique looking. So that's what we started. Oh, shit. how I'm going to build this box. I don't really have a plan on how I'm going to build this box. I just know I'm going to build this box for this violin. I think that's a good size. I don't want to waste much. And I will tell you, I'm going to try to keep this as simple as possible. I am willing to get more complicated as I get more better because right now I want to keep this as simple as possible. I've built plenty of boxes, but I've always built them on the table saws and miter saws and so on. In this case, I'm going to try to purposefully handicap myself so that I have to build this. Now, I also have to think about that this is different than what I'm accustomed to in a cabinet build or something like that, because one, no fasteners, and also there's no room for complex joinery. And this wood is super thin. I gotta figure out how to make nice, reasonably clean cuts on it and end up with something decent. Let's see what our max depth is on this. And then we'll try to function from that for our box depths, obviously. Let me just set that somewhere. Right on one of those little 1-inch marks. Now, I got a little depth gauge, and you can get one of those and do all of that too if you wanted to. But this is roughly 3/4 of an inch. So that means if this is 1.5 inches, then I could continue a cut straight down and I'd end up with sides that I could split down the middle. That would be ideal. So let's see, we can see this is 1 inch and 3/4. So that's enough. So we will continue that right down the middle. Ugh, feeling chunky today. Chunky. Alright, we want to continue that mark. I'd rather do that with a straight edge. So I'm gonna. And we're going to do it with a straight edge. That's a square corner. I know it looks crazy. I know it looks crazy. It works. I'll clean this one up too one day. I cleaned up I lost this one when I found it. But this is no woodpecker. This is the problem with cabinet squares. They will jump off the wood and annoy you. This is the exact problem. They're square and true, but they are difficult to stay put. It's difficult to get them to stay exactly put. Now, between these two, I also need to cut center of those two. We'll do that real simple and quick too. Get that corner to corner. Draw us a line to that corner. And then we'll do a line from that corner to that corner. This is just a lazy way to do it without math. That's our center. Square our piece. Pass through that center. And it'll be square on the edge of our board. This is assuming that the edge of our board is square. Stay playing. Let's go down. Could also use a little depth gauge, try to come back. Alright, that works. That's our center line. I don't know how well I'm going to cut that, but that's enough to get two sides and then two really short sides. Have a little bit of scrap behind it. So now we know we've got at least a bottom and a side and the sides out of that. We're going to put a top on it. And I think we'll be clever and cute with our top and maybe use some walnut for the top. We'll deal with that later since we've got to cut that board separately. Anyway. B Trucker says nothing, just retracted his statement. Billy Shoemake says good morning, Wes. Good morning, Billy. How you doing? Maria, how you doing today? Kevin, how are you? I'm good. I'm good. Heather, how you doing? Heather says good morning to Wes and the West Nation. Oh my God. Where my kids at? Hey, man. Frostbite's in the building. Morning, y'all. Morning, Frostbite. And Plywood says good morning too. How y'all doing? I appreciate all that love and all of those shouts to one another. We're going to figure out how to build this box. Okay. I be dreading when I know I'm in for something new, right? Simplicity wise, I'm super familiar with how to build a box. I've got no hand box building backgrounds. So you're gonna see something clumsy perhaps. Who knows? Maybe I can pull it off. First thing we gotta do, hold this down so we don't have a lot of heavy vibration and whatnot. Yeah, I think I'm going to use that if it's long enough to do it. Just a piece of scrap. I shaved these off so that I could reverse them and do different stuff with them before, and now, you know, they just fall apart if I don't put pressure on them. Word to the wise, a little warning from your Uncle West if you're considering doing the same thing. Now, man, pop that there, and hopefully these handles will be out of my way. Hopefully visually they'll be also out of your way. Let me see if I can get in here. Let's see a little bit what I'm doing. What I'm doing. We'll go for the I always get a little concerned about these, right? If I should go with the little one or the big one. And then I just noticed that the teeth on these are pretty close. Pretty close to the same. These are a little bit tighter. I'm going to go with these. But look, this is cheap. It's a little wiggly itself. Maybe I'll put the vise on it real fast. Or the mallet. do it like it's supposed to be done. Let's see. Let's get our DIY anvil out for a second. What we're going to do is just kind of push those through a little bit. I'm going to spread them joints out. Better. Less, no wiggles. All right. Back to this. Back to this. Now, what I do is just let that thing go forward so that I'm rolling with the teeth. And that'll let me just get a good start. Now the cutting is really happening when I'm on the draw, because it's a pull saw obviously, but you can start your line with a push and stay a lot cleaner. Now I'm gonna stay, if you're a finished carpenter, what you'd be saying right here is, whatever your measurement is, leave the line. That means you ride just on the outside edge of the cut so that the line stays on a piece of lumber. Now if you say kill the line, that means you do the opposite. Every so often you tell your measurement and you say dead on, and that means you go halfway through that line as you cut. I'm holding the edge of my lumber so that I can reduce the vibration on this side. That'll let me get a lot smoother cut. Now, I don't know what the proper way is, but I am just telling you how it seems to be working well for me. Of course, I'm not looking on the underside. It's probably a bunch of tear out happening. But we are going to be able to clean up, as always, whatever we got to deal with. Also, some of this is definitely going to get sanded off. That's why we're leaving our line. So we'll have a good gauge of what's crooked and what's not, because we can base it on that line. Just sand right down to it perfect. My thumb is going to follow my saw so that I keep that stability next to, and also I'll be braced to be able to, as I go, I'll put a little bit of tension out so I can pull this clean. cut, I'm going to slow it down, a little bit more intentional. Don't want to blow out the corner if I can help it. And now I'm going to do the same thing I was talking about before. I'm not going to cut on the pull stroke, I'm going to cut on the push stroke. It just seems to be a gentler stroke. Now see, that little bit is all we got, and that's just the middle. That doesn't do anything bad anywhere. Backside looks good. We got a good cut. Alright, stage 2. Now we got to cut that line straight down. Like we were saying before, this time we're going to go right down the middle. We're going to try to ride that line the whole way, and that'll give us an exact on each side. Right? In theory, anyway. A little squig of the coffee. Cheers to you. Alright. While I set this up, I'll take a look at the chat and say good morning to Plywood and Kevin Ellis and Gagey. How you doing? How you doing? Billy Shoemaker. Love to see all these people in here. How y'all doing this Saturday? Let's hear what y'all are up to. What y'all up to today? This is going to be a little bit different scenario than we just had. I'm going to try to keep that. See, almost fell out. I'm going to put this right here, barely on this edge. Just turn it into a skid. Stop. I'm going to turn it a little bit. Let me just try to crank it down. Now, I'm good up with that, but perhaps we can hold it steady enough to do it. If we can't, we'll adjust. Take some of that spring out. Right now, I'm going to go on a push stroke. I'm going to use my fingertip kind of as a guide, just on the upper side of this to keep it where I'd like it to be. And I'm tempted to pull back. It's habit to pull back. I'm just going to push through that stroke. And it's going to take a little bit longer than if you properly set up to do it both ways, but right now this is working okay. Keep it at sort of a 45, reminding myself that this is not rough work. This is supposed to be fine carpentry, and the better you are with your intention at each stage, and of course all this is going to get sanded and whatnot, but the more accurate you are at each stage of what you're doing, the less work the next stage is going to be, and the cleaner overall your work can be. Billy says, hope everybody's having a great morning. And Gagey says, now we watch Wes try his best at making a clean run. I'm giving it my best shot. To Mardu says, about to go to Crater Lake. I am attempting to make a box, a jewelry box for this violin pendant that I made. Dusty, but this is a pendant I made for a subscriber, and I'm making a box for it before I ship it out. I want to keep it safe. I think it'll be safer in a wooden box, and it'll be a nice display for when it's not being warm. It's probably a little too delicate to sleep in. So I have to take it off every night. Put it somewhere. I don't know exactly how straight that is, but we can check it a little bit. It's pretty good. Pretty good. Let's go ahead and give it a little turn here. This, we're going to go straight through that line as well, right? No, I'm going to go on the, yeah, I'm going to go straight through it. Try to avoid this table as I go. If it's going cross grain, I can be a little bit more aggressive without the concern of the shredding happening too well. And you try to follow that line because the line is also square, so it's good to start with two square edges if you have the opportunity to. Finish our cut on the downstroke. Crisp and clean with no caffeine. Pure spandex, even tight jeans. Okay. Now we know we can do it. Let's see if we can refine it and make it look like something. Sorry if I'm making you seasick. Eco Woodcrafts is in the building. Hey, hey, hey. What it do, what it do. Gagey says be right back. We'll see you when you get back. So now what we have is two sides, hopefully. If we go right there, let's just do this quickly just to have a reference point. This is not our final cut line. Just a reference mark to make sure that we've got enough material left over to get the side. So this is a side and the front. This is equal, so there'd be a side and back. So we've got literally 5 pieces of our box prepped already. Material line. Now we got to think about a lid. And the lid's going to be walnut. But it's a little bit thicker. And I like that. And we're also going to put, I don't know how, I don't want to make you promise. I'm not going to make you promise about how I'm fastening it just yet. I'm looking for my wallet. Walnut, where are you, boy? Where are you? Walnut. Oh, see, here it goes. It's got a call for it, man. It's got a call for it. So, now we have to make some decisions. Brace yourselves, I gotta spin you around, okay? I gotta spin you around. I don't do this haphazardly. I respect your capacity for movement, and I also respect the fact that you might have vertigo. And I don't want to create a problem for you. You feel me? Alright, here we go. We got this. And we got these. We'll put this little guy to the side. Keep it clean. guy, he's a little rough for being right there. We get these to the side as well. Look at that ring we failed with yesterday. It was going so well, and then I just blasted him. Just mucked it all up. Look at big dummy. Look at big dummy. Okay, is our box being that tall, right? Meaning if we set our sides on the top of this, is that what we want, or is this what we want? This is ideally what we want, but we want to make sure that, see, that takes away some height. And then the recess that's going to have to happen to get it to mount, it's also going to lose some depth. So we have to make sure that one, even after that, we'd have enough height to clear it comfortably. I'll show you from the side, you can actually see all right. To make sure we can clear that height. And it looks like so, but we also want to have a little bit of space for a recess on that lid. And that gets pretty tight. That gets pretty tight. So that, because what I was going to do is cut a little rabbit in there and then send this inside of there like a drawer, like how we build a drawer. But I can't sacrifice that height. So I think I'm going to set it right on top. Oh, I don't like that though. I don't like that, I'll be honest. I don't like it. Look at that. So I'm not going to do that. I'm going to do this way, all the way around. I'm going to have to figure out how to make that top not drop down inside of here. Maybe I'll put it on the outside and at the top rim on the outside like that. That might be better. That might be better. Alright, let's get a couple of these pieces actually put together a little bit better. When I say put together, I mean sand them down to these definitive lines so that we got nice straight edges. Eco says I got my first 1,000 views on a video the other day. Congratulations. Wait, let me try to whistle. Did the crowd go wild? Did it sound like the crowd going wild? Because I'm going wild. That's awesome. Billy says gonna go do some tree work for my daughter after a while. That's nice. You never stop being dad, do you? Don't matter how old they get. You're free labor for life, buddy. If you got daughters, you're free labor for life. If you got sons, you're free tools for life. So, that's pretty sweet. Okay. Gray B says too tight if it's small enough not to need massive structural integrity. Okay. I ain't arguing with that. I don't know what it's in reference to, but I ain't arguing with it. Alright, these are cleaning up pretty good. I also could have did it with the planes. That would have been cute. But me. So, let's see. Get that happening. This would be a prime opportunity for a little shooting board, right? If I was building a big box, I'd have to have a shooting board. Fortunately, you can kind of use this thing. I don't almost as easily as you can use a plane if you've got a good straight line that you can reference. We did not check to see if our cut was clean enough to make these two exactly the same, so we need to do that too. But not, and our cut is wild, squiggly on this side. Look. Those two came from each other, so I cut a bow in there that didn't look significant, right? Until you make a meet on the other side. And when you do, you can see it doubles the bow. It makes it crazy. So we can sand that down. We can pinch them together, sand them together, and at least they'll be the same height. But we'll have to do a new reference line to do that. Let's look at the other side, make sure we're flat here. Seems to be good there. On the first cut, the second cut, we blew it. So what I'm going to do is fasten these together, both of them. Real easy, sleazy, Joji and Weezy. We got some glue on here holding this one back, so I had to stop and do it that way. But I'm going to lock this onto that, right? I'm going to pull back a wee bit. And I just want to hold it right there. I'm going to let the back side here, because these are lined up and these are good straight cuts. I'm going to do that over here as well. Confirming still with the back lining up with our eyeballs too. Confirming with our eyeballs, not lining up with our eyeballs. Start moving. Right. Clamping these pretty tight. Still confirming on the back side. Still flush the whole way. Bring this up a little bit, let you get a little bit. Thought it was going to be a little bit better view. Turns out to be a crock. Alright. Just gotta look at my gut, sorry. Let's get us a good straight line on this. How are we going to do that with? Well, how about that? That should be okay. So let's get us a definitive line to do that on. I'm going to go right here. I'm going to take off a good bit of material. Now, if you've got a pencil, you can mark on your ruler where you're at so that you can re-reference the other side. See how I did that little crow's foot? That way there's no mistaking. And I'll pop it right here on this side and do the same thing. If I wasn't a goober. Let's see. It's 3/4 inches. So let's flip it on this side and just go 3/4 inches. Got that mark and that mark. They should be the same mark. Gotta move this one so I can get to it. Tighten it back. Still making sure that I'm flush back here. This is us doing it without power tools, so this is what we've got to do. Straight edge, this could be bowed, so we can't really trust it. That's not long enough to trust it. That's our line. Check in the middle. See if it hits at our same 3/4. Does. Let's sand that down. Could also plane it down, but we'd have to glue all of that stuff together. It'd be much, much tighter or something. I don't know. Maybe we could sit it that way and hit it that way. I don't know. I think I might rather sand, but we could give it a shot. Nice flat. Keeping up on our line. I'm making a box for the little violin we made, the violin pendant. So what we're trying to do is flatten out the sides, because we're doing all of this without power tools. Boom, boom, boom. Is it a mistake? Perhaps. Are we going to do it anyway? You already know. Can you see from there? Get close. Get that metal on this side. We're getting there. A wood necklace the shape of New Zealand would be cool. Do you sell your stuff? I guess I could for the right price. Make me an offer. I definitely would build a necklace for New Zealand. Hold on 1 second. Sorry, you guys. I had an important call from my wife. I'm all the way down to that call. see how close we are to that line. We're near it, but we're not exactly on it yet. Let's give it a couple more hits with the Big Grit. This will be my rap name, Big Grit. It's a pretty easy name to this though. You can call me Fine Grit. Lightweight sandpaper. So we look down at it, we can see a little bit more what we're aiming at. Let's get that thing a little more aggressive for just a second. Make sound. Come off that. See? Worked. We needed to add more sound effects. Kevin says, am I a carpenter? I am a carpenter. This is more woodworking though, which is over here is not quite the same. So I am a professional carpenter. I am a novice woodworker. But I am a decent cabinet builder, so a little bit of this is familiar to me. It is letting me know that there are certain tools that I need. I need a longer straight edge, something that's smaller than what I need in construction, a little longer than this, for sure. If I look down, it's still got a little bow in it, but we can put this whole thing on the sander together after assembly. We are at least very close to the same thickness on both of these pieces. And we can go ahead and cut our width after we decide which is going to take priority, I guess, because it's a glue joint. The way we're going to do this, we're going to just clamp it this way, boom, boom, we'll miter these corners, boom, boom, and we'll try to do it that way. Let's go ahead and straighten that out right now while we got it. Let's get all of our little pieces together, you know what I'm saying? And in that way, while we assemble the box, put the glue on it, it can be drying. We can be building the top. So we don't have to take a huge lull in our action, so to speak. Jason says, we gotta get going. I'm gonna post some stuff on my profile and head back to work. So we'll be looking forward to it, Gagey. Thanks for hanging out with us for the time you did. I appreciate it. Gerardo says, hi. What up, Gerardo? Did I say that wrong? Probably did. En español es mucho poco. Somewhat rough grit that I'm on right now. Which is not going to be bad for glue joints at all. But what we do know is that once we're inside of that box, we're not going to be able to sand in it anymore. So we got to do what we can to prep the inside of the box floor, so to speak, right now. Clean that up as much as possible. Clean the edges up as much as possible. Again, with the heavy grit right now. I'm gonna check this corner. It doesn't look quite squared. I mean, with my eye, so I'm gonna check it with the tool and confirm that. Which it's off a little bit, not a whole lot. I'm gonna go ahead and give it a little mark. And then give it a little sand so it don't bug me. Good thing about a heavy grit is it can knock down a good bit of material on something like this. And if you just ease up on it, you won't knock off an uncontrollable amount. It's a very controlled way to get fine accuracy. So from here, that's not bad. Consider depths of each piece in relationship to the other, because it looks like this is not solid. It's a little bit of a laminated situation, so we're going to have to rely on some 45s, I think, in order to hide that. So we're going to do that on the same apparatus pretty much. Let's see if I can move it to a different spot on the table. See if that helps. So I'm going to try to make a little 45 inside joint real fast and see how close I can get without a tool. See if I can trust myself to get a clean corner. It's pretty close, I think. It's close enough to live with, I think. Okay, so let's go with that. Let's make our marks that way. Put that right on the edge there. Go around that corner just to confirm squareness. Hold it down. That is the inside of our 45. So now what we've got to do is go on the outside. Right? I'm making that a little beyond the 45 because we're going to sand back to it. Put my square on that so we know got a nice clean square situation. And again, that's not necessarily our actual line, but we're going to sand back to it. I'm going to cut that off with our Tulio. I think this shortcut, not shortcut, but you know what I'm saying. We can make that without having to clamp it down. Just use our brute strength just one time. And then I'm going to cut, because it's thin material, and I'm one-handing it. I'm going to cut on the push stroke. Even though this is a pull stroke knife, because of the orientation of the teeth, makes it a little easier to get started and stay straight. And then we can finish with whatever stroke you choose. Now, I wouldn't risk trying to cut this 45 with this thing on this fragile material because I'm just not all that experienced. So, but I can do this. And so can you. You see how it's getting crooked? You work your way to that line. Just adjust it as you go. Keep checking it. You know what I mean? Kind of like you're working a chisel. It's slow-ish, but that is kind of the nature of hand woodworking, right? Is that it is handcrafted, it takes time. So I'm going to work that 45. This may be a little sharper than 45, but I can always knock it back down too. If I need to. And then follow the old adage, get it while the getting's good. Stop while you're ahead, all that stuff. We'll do that right now. Then we're going to need what's likely to be the same size piece to the other side. That and that. So that looks good. We'll go ahead and mark it. Sand and cut both sides. I'm not going to use that one. It's rounded. We're going to fix that though. And take that rounded edge just outside of what we want because we're going to have to sand that out. All right. Those are our two pieces. We're going to go ahead and cut that over here. Got to remember which side we want. We're keeping that side, so we're going to cut on this side of the line. Same thing on the push stroke. Do it until you got enough bite to be able to do the pull stroke. Right? Now on this one, I'm doing it this way because this is the side that I can see, so I've got to put my pressure down and kind of bow the wood as I'm going, which is not the best thing to do. But once I'm across there, I can set it flat, I can set it flush. And because this is just a work table, you can refinish as many times as you want. You can go ahead and start cutting right here. You'll know we're done when that piece moves or the sound changes, or that happens. So now we know that's our long, right? When we measure a beveled piece of wood, if you're a carpenter, you go, let's say, from this end to this end is called the long. From this inside miter to another inside miter would be called the short. So if you're measuring this measurement to there, you'd say 10 3/8 to the short. Or you'd say 11 inches to the long, long to long. You could also say short to long, so on and so forth, parallelograms, yada yada. If you're communicating that to another carpenter. You dig what I'm saying? So, here we go with our 45. we're already at the length we want. We just want a 45 to that outside edge. We want to try to leave that outside edge intact as we do it. Not bad. Not bad. Right side needs attention. And we'll let that ride. Pull this side. Now you're not going to want to necessarily guess a 45 from a carpenter. I've been doing this for a long time. I can somewhat guess close, but I'm not going to be dead right. I'm not even. There's probably going to be some mistakes in here because I'm not doing it that way. So I don't want you to assume it's going to be this natural to you to find that 45 degrees. But it will become more natural to you. That's a fact. And we still don't know how close we are because we haven't put it up against anything to see. You can certainly try these two pieces with each other, see how they come together, and if it closes into a 45. And now more is better. Tight outside, wide inside is not as much of a tragedy as tight inside, wide outside. Right? But right now, that's where we're at. Tight outside, wide inside. In theory, we correct that with one of these once we make that corner. We shall see. Experiment number 1. This is what Tom Hanks should have did in that movie. He was trapped on that island by himself. He took up woodwork. Instead of talking to that volleyball, wasting time. What's wrong with you? Could have had you a YouTube channel, Tom Hanks. Alright. I'm making this what I think is a little shy of the 45 to see if putting the two together will correct. And that looks like it kind of did. So that's what we were after, ideally. So there's 2 of those to make. And I've got to get this other side, which also means I've got to get this other 45 in. So what I'm going to do is put that over to that edge, right? To where that gives me the 45. I'm after, because we just want all of our joints somewhat here. And then I go there, and pull that straight. So I've got me a nice square edge to work towards. And then we work that out. You can cut it, or you can sand it to that 45. Go something like that. And these aren't exact marks, but if you do it like that, you won't accidentally give yourself a parallelogram where you were aiming for a trapezoid. Let me give myself something square on the back side to aim at too as I begin to work this edge off. Now this is a heavy grit. This is like 60 or something like that. So don't expect this to be your finished grit. It's not too bad for a glue joint. That outside edge is going to need more attention before you get to that line. So keep that in mind. Right now I'm just keeping it up till I get near that line. And then I'll start turning and moving towards more of a diagonal in my approach. So, still aiming at that line. That's my inside, so I'm going to have to go pretty hard beyond it. But I can look at it on the back side. Scoop my way there. Okay. So a lot of material to remove on a stand with a heavy grit, and it's a really thin piece, so it's making pretty short work of it. And I have to put the sauce on everything. Everything? Everything. We're almost there. As soon as I get there, I'm going to get off of this grit and on to something a little more sophisticated. Not completely, but a little bit. Make sure I clean up that back edge. That's also part of the build. It's going to be visible. I'm going to use that like a fingernail file. See how that corner comes together. Not great, not bad. Somewhere in the middle. Not disappointed, but still could aim higher. Let's see. Still too wide though. Let's see if this side fits it. It's still a little too wide. Still a little too wide. Don't take it off of this side. It's not the better side. Let's see. Yeah, that's better. That's better. I'll pop that here. Boom, boom. That there. Power you out. I'm used to being able to like lock these in immediately with a nailer and then know what I got. This is not the case. And I'm still wide. Still wide. So let's work it some more. Who's in the chat? Baby Kisses, how you doing? Oh man, I'm tripping. I'm missing the whole chat right now. Sorry y'all, I got a little hyper focus. And I'll talk to you and just treat you like you haven't been there for me. 11 years you sacrificed, and I'm one at the drop of a dime. Let's see. Two Murados says, so rad, dude, very nice. Thank you. KG comes back. Lions shows up. Hey, Dad's fella, pick up the likes, people. Get tapping on that screen if you're watching. Says Lions Fish Shop. It's such a relaxing channel over there. It's a funny guy, too. Everybody hit that like button. Says Kevin Ellis. Appreciate you. Your mom's friend called me handsome. Says, what's up, bro? Hope all is well. Everything is wonderful. Consider. Baby Kisses says good morning and some other stuff. You mean like this 2 times on the screen? That's pretty darn easy, boys. That's what Baby Kisses said. And Lions said it too. And how you doing, Lions? How you doing today? How are you doing today as well, Baby Kisses? What are you up to? Both of y'all are usually doing something cool on your own channels. What is it today? Excuse me. Pardon me. You know how it is in the dust shop. Manufacturing all this good dad glitter. Trying to counter the convex nature of this edge here that I've cut already. Kind of straighten it out that way. A little counterintuitive concave effort. I think I got it straight. Straight enough. So that's in there like that. That's in there like that. I'm going to tighten this corner up too. I want to be particular. I want to fit these together well. It's a very tiny thing, so imperfections look enormous. We learned that last night when we blew out that ring. Yeah, I'm going to cry about that for a while. I'm going to cry about it for a minute. For a minute. So there's that. Let me get a little bit of this dust off here for a quick second. A little bit of this dust. Pull down all the stuff I don't want to blow away. Alright, that's a little better. So, if this is our violin sits, then that should be able to sit here. That should be able to sit here. This here. And now we've just got basically these two corners to shorten. That should be there. That should be there. And that just means that this is still not ready. I'm going to hit it a couple times with the rough stuff just to teach it a valuable lesson about not doing what I want it to do. And we'll kiss it and make it better. Because that's what it likes, isn't it? Took out a bunch of material there. I didn't mean to. Hopefully it'll work out for our benefit. That's why I always go light, so that if I make a mistake, you know, it's not as bad. It's not good. It isn't as bad. Let's get some 220 on this. Clean up that edge without taking out any more material. Let's see if that's more snug. Because if it's too long on the outside corner, if this piece is too long, it'll make these two pieces push forward. And it'll look like a decent joint, but it'll make me have to resand both of those. Don't want that. So we just got to knock this down to its proper size. This is a little delicate. And I apologize for boring you to death. Doing everything I can to do everything I can. Alright. That's still not quite it, is it? It's real close, but it ain't it. Maybe I'll put the sides on first and then drop these two on there. You know what I mean? These fit. The sides are right. It's these two. How are we going to clamp that though? Is a question. You could do something like put that here, boom, like that, and then put another chunk of something against it, boom, like that. Lock those into each other. I can see that working. Let's put some tape down on top of our situation so we don't glue to our desk. We can get that stiz-arted. We could also do something with that without having to necessarily lose our desktop space. Do you know what I mean? Do that. Let's get this to the side. Let's get this folded over so we can access it again. Stop this treatment for violin is what I'm going to do. Alright, so this is how it's going to go. Anyway, first off, we got to sand out the middle of this. So these lines aren't there. We're not going to have access to it after we put this box together. So we've got to erase those lines. We just erase them by sanding them out. 225 will leave a good finish, and it'll get rid of those lines. Registration marks. Yeah, I know. Can't help it. Can't help it. Gotta get it straight. Gotta get it straight on there. Get it straight out, baby. Gotta get it straight out. Alright. Good enough. Okay. Now, in theory, what I want to do is this. Take this piece and put this right here upon it. And then take another piece and do that. still on his backside. Ugh, stop it. Stop it, you rapscallion. Okay. This way. And now we can glue right there. We can attach right there. We can just lock it in and call it. Let's make sure this glue will glue right now. Yep. So we're going to put a little CA glue right there. Is that too much? Probably. Probably. Do it anyway. Bet your bottom dollar. We're gonna do it anyway. We glue our tape to our freaking box. Who knows? Am I a psychic? Freaking woodworker. Alright. Now, let's might be catastrophic. I don't know. Okay. So I got that and I got that. Boom! Immediate despair. Ruin. So let's just get rid of the stupid block of wood altogether. Jeez. Get these close. Super mega tight. And I'm just going to leave that like that until I get this, and then I'll glue it all together. Right? That's still not shallow enough. I feel like I need to get all the way down to it and put it in and be like 5 millimeters short. But all of this stuff takes time. All of it takes a little effort. Here's what I'm also going to do, is use this gel. I like the gel better anyway. First I got to sand that out. Sure. Gel will kind of fill in the gap, so to speak. And, you know, as a woodworker, we really like some squeeze out. So you can get some of that with the gel. But you cannot necessarily get with the thin CA glue. So now, the goal is to keep some good pressure on that whole situation to keep that joint good. You can do it a couple of ways. I'm going to go right there. Pull that up. And pull this corner up. And then I'm just going to squeeze them together. I'm pinching that corner as I do it. Oops. Maybe a little too much. As long as we're down, flat, it's tight, pull this over top. yeah, it's going to be somewhat insane as a little box. It's obviously I don't know what I'm doing. But we're going to keep working on it until it looks like I do. Alright, let's go ahead and get one of these edges again so that we can get this side on there and glued up while that's happening. I got a feeling we're going to have to put some more CA glue on there. But until we do, we march forth. Dan is in the building. Calvin's in the building. Where's Calvin? Somebody said what's up with Calvin. Go check the chat. Gotta go check the chat. And now, my pencil, if I go right there, let me scooch this down a little bit. Let's just calm everything down a little bit. Because I do need to get to the bottom down here to know what I need. I can also do this by going outside to outside, like that. Then marking that outside edge, and then tapering it in like that. And that'll give you what you want. More or less, more so, I rip it so a little fast life come through in the push slow like low. Like though, like though, like though, like though, like though, like though. Alright, we're just going to give this a speed sand and see if we can get it down to the size we want it to be. Gotcha. Let's see if we did it. No, we did not. Don't believe we've done such a thing whatsoever. But I'm also not certain that we're not a little bit long over here either as well. There. It does work. These two are a little bit long, despite our prior claims of perfection. Let's pull back a little bit. Let's grab our files. That's where we're going to get the fastest action. do have to be mindful of that corner though. Kind of want to do a disassembly, but I kind of don't. Tighter on this side, still a little long toothed on that side. So let's go ahead and hit that one too then. Knock some of that dust out. Let's go ahead and get some glue squeeze on it. See if we can make it work. I feel confident in my blind ambition. Supposed to be pulling the tape up. Pulling these corners tight. Same here. Should be pulling these corners tight. Hope this box makes sense. Flush on the bottom, that's good. Everywhere. Corners are pretty decent. Just gonna pull a little bit this way, but not a lot. Just keep some pressure going that way. And it's an ugly box. Just kidding. We don't know at all. But we are going to make this piece a little bit bigger than that, so it's going to sit right on top. And then we're going to figure out how to make something decorative on top of this too. We're going to give that a few minutes to settle, a few minutes to dry up. Don't forget the green strap compound. If you can get Harbor Freight, they do have the best deal. They also have other colors with finer grip, and most people use green. It's great. Okay. You inspired me to make pendants. I'm ordering my first hand carving whittle and knife set next week and start the 70-piece Dremel kit with a sander. That's awesome. God's vision. That's incredible. Good to hear that. Dave says, good work, man. Work, Scott Hart. Good man. Appreciate it, man. Appreciate that, yo. I'm gonna give this a little bit to do that, and I'm gonna go grab something to put in my belly. I've not eaten yet today, and I think it's about time to. I thank y'all for who has hung out. Yeah, pull back up a little bit later. I'll be here. Where's dessert?